Rolling? We're rolling?
We're rolling.
We're rolling. Oh, I like your earrings.
Thank you.
Very nice.
They're green, like my shirt.
They're green like your shirt. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. You're probably wondering why you're here. I have no idea. Anyways, the CCJT Amateur. We're back on the air after our, what it is we do a podcast, then we have a guest come on our podcast, and then we do a podcast. And so last week, I think it was Anthony Addis that we had. Our last time was Anthony Addis, who's a very fascinating English writer and teacher and world traveler.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but this week you have us, JT.
CC.
And we're glad to be here. CC, JT. We even have logos and brands and everything like that.
JT's birthday present.
I gotta tell you, doing these podcasts, doing the CC and JT Amateur, which we've done over 230 times, is a kind of a relief because we enjoy doing the podcasts. Yeah. We enjoy doing the podcasts with the writers from around the world, and then we also do the podcast with the Nevada Authors Network. But it is a bit of stress.
Yeah.
And so it's just nice to sit down with you, have a cup of coffee.
And our coffee, all important coffee.
All important coffee. Just sit down with you and say, hey guys, how you doing? So, hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
Doing good?
Doing good.
Good. Doing good.
Doing good.
We don't have a lot in the way of, daily announcements, whatever we used to call it.
Oh, we do.
Well, yeah. Tuesday is going to be this guy, and we're going to be talking about the release of this guy on Tuesday.
We're going to talk about it today, but it releases on Tuesday.
Yeah, it releases on Tuesday. So, August 26th, Tuesday, the third book of the three Serving Salvation series is kicking out. And it's been a thing, but we're going to talk about this book, the release. We're going to talk a little bit about it. So that's cool.
That's very cool.
And if you are interested in meeting us, well, you can always meet us. You can get on our website and you can reach out to us. And if you're in the Carson, Reno, Sparks area and you would like a book delivered, contact us and we'll figure out a way to get together.
We could meet at a coffee shop.
Yeah, a place a public place of safety for everybody involved.
Yes. Yep.
So we are happy to do that. So if you're in the Reno Sparks area, Reno Sparks, Carson City area.
Minden, Gardnerville.
Yeah, we'll come down. Gardnerville, it's, Douglas, that valley down, Carson Valley, so pretty.
So beautiful.
So pretty. So we're going to circle back to the book release. So what else do we want to talk about today?
Well, I released a book about a month ago.
Yeah.
So we've kind of had back-to-back releases, and we have more coming.
Well,
you have
the third Sheriff book, and we have such a pretty cover. Oh, we have such a pretty cover.
Another really good one.
And it's a really good one. So doing a cover contest for 99 Designs, which I'm about to end because I think I've picked the cover. So that's good. That's good. So
along with all the other pretty covers, because these are great too.
Yeah, that's through 100 covers. Usually I do 99 designs, but I said, I want to branch out. So these three covers, this guy is through 100 designs, and they did a wonderful job. And they kept it consistent. I like the theme. I like the consistency. There are three main characters in the book, and each got their day in the sun, so to speak.
Yep. So you'll tell that the differences between the covers, the color and the overall scheme is very similar, but you can tell there are different figures for each book. So focusing on the three main characters.
Yeah, it just really worked out well. So thank you for out there. What else did we want to chat about? Is there any other current events that we got going on? If you want to see us though, and you want to do it in a book signing kind of way, we're probably going to be at Mark Twain Days, which is in mid-October. They're going to be closing down Carson Street in Carson City.
And
so we're going to be getting a canopy. And so we're going to be out there in the canopy. But the week before that, we're going to be up in Sparks.
Right.
We're going to be in Sparks, which is also in mid-October.
Victorian Square.
Yep. And we're going to be, again, under our canopy, signing books. And there's Barnes & Noble in November.
Yep.
Barnes & Noble.
So kind of kicking off the holiday shopping season, if you're looking for something that someone probably hasn't read yet, check out our books.
Yeah, nobody's read it, believe me. quick funny story. Talk about being seen.
Oh yes, there you go.
That's funny. So
That's a
I'm
good
down
one.
by the Carson River on the long trail to the Mexican Dam, which is a really nice trail. You know, Carson Parks and Rec, really,
They do a lot of work.
they do a lot of work, and they do a lot of good work. And if you are training for a 5K, which is what I was doing, if you go from the parking lot down to Mexican Dam, it's about 1.6 miles, so it's about 3.2 miles round trip for a 5K. That's spot on. So I'm huffing, wheezing, and puffing, and somebody stops you coming from the other direction, says, "Aren't you a writer?" And just total shock. I'm just total shock. That's the first time I'd ever been recognized in the wild. This person recognized me from one of our previous book signings, and we bought books. But you know, it's like I guess her husband hadn't been there, so he left with a bookmark, which I carry with me everywhere because we carry bookmarks with us. But it was still being recognized in the wild.
It's strange because I've seen other people talking about this as well, and this was local, so it's not quite, I think, as odd as it might be if we were on the other side of the country or something. That has yet to come. But even so, if it's somebody that you don't know personally and they come up and they're like, "Hi, I know you, don't I?" And you're kind of like, "I don't think so."
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, and I had to stop for a second because I had to introduce myself as JT and not my other secret identity or whatever you want to call it. So that was kind of funny. That was fun.
That was funny because I got a text like somebody just came up and said hello to me out in the wild. It's a little bit unnerving, and I think it's kind of part of the topic that we're discussing today.
It is.
The reason why it's a little wild.
And so we're going to talk today we're just going to dive into this, and we're going to talk about the fear of success. Because, first of all, I do not consider the fear of the success the main reason why our book releases just go thud.
No.
We don't have a following,
Right.
And there are thousands of books being released every week.
Every day.
Yeah, so that is the reason I feel that our book releases just, crash and burn. It's like for example, book one over there, I put it out on the website and said, I'm going to reduce the price down to 99 cents. And if you can't afford 99 cents, reach out to me through our website and I will just give you the book in a PDF format. Nobody has taken advantage of that. Nobody.
Yeah.
And I put it across all social media. I'll probably do a TikTok later today saying, hey, come on, people. Either you got a free book here, but nobody's taken advantage of it.
Yeah.
And as of this morning, I don't even know how many pre-orders I've gotten on book 3. I think I've gotten uno. Yeah, 1. So, and so let's be realistic. Let's frame this correctly. The reason that CC and our releases don't do well is because these books are part of just a tsunami of books. They're coming at people, coupled with the fact that people don't ingest books probably as much as they used to. There's some true believers out there, but there is just so much media and so much available consumption that, it's easier to watch a 2-minute TikTok than it is to read a book and still get not get the same experience. But for some people, especially, and I'm not gonna say millennials or younger generations.
We do it too.
Yeah, but they were raised different than us. They were raised different from us, and books is a dedication in time and energy and emotion, because books is the means by which we sell emotion. We're selling emotion, and if people can get that emotional fix in other means that is shorter and more fits into their lifestyle, then okay, then that's something that we respect and understand.
Yeah.
But so that's why I think that we have not had success.
Yeah, I think the other issue we have going on is that some people get really popular really quickly because they hit a very specific moment in time. And I think with your upcoming release, we've seen this between our 2 releases over the past month. Now I know JT did not send out as much media about the release as in the past because it is a 3rd book in the series and things like that. But when I put out my press release for Passion Restored last month, for our local media, Carson Now, it showed up on the site immediately. And I was on the front page for a couple of hours, maybe a little bit longer, and as the top story. And then there were, it kind of cycled through, and I was probably on the front page for at least a day. JT sent a press release out, and apparently they posted the press release, but it's not easily visible on the site.
It's buried on the site.
So there is a link which JT can send out over social media, but I happened to hit a sweet spot, I think, where they didn't have a lot going on at the moment. And we just recently had all the kids go back to school, and things are gearing up for the fall. People are getting really seriously back to work, summer vacations over, that kind of thing. And I think whereas I hit the sweet spot with not a lot going on, I think you hit a glut of news because they've been talking about, road work and different criminal activity in the area. And, there's a plague up in South Lake Tahoe kind of situation where people really want to hear that news. And I think that's another reason it's really hard to tell when you're going to find a sweet spot. Yeah. And if you don't find a sweet spot, you're not going to get noticed because there's so much else going on in the world. Not just book releases, but all of the other news. We are just overwhelmed with the 24-hour news cycle. Yeah. So I think that it's similar to what you were talking about, but I think that's another factor is getting the attention. You have to find a moment in time where there's a lull, and somebody may say, well, okay, we need some filler. Here we go. Let's throw this in there.
Anyway, and there's also a psychological factor, but before I hit the psychological factor, I just want to repeat, if you're viewing this, if you're one of the few people that view this podcast, and you do want, Serving Salvation Book 1 for free, just go to our website at www.carsonhune.com, click on the contact, thing on there, fill in the blanks, and just say, hey, I saw this in the podcast, could I have a PDF of your book? And I'll just send it to you. I really just want people to read, and right now people aren't reading. So I just want to point that out, that I think what we're talking about here are the main reasons.
Yes.
The main reasons why I don't think our books are selling, and that, that's fine. That's okay. Someday we're going to keep writing because we're writing for the future. We're hoping someday somebody stumbles across us and just discovers us, and just we go crazy all at once. But now we're going to talk about the topic of this podcast, and we're going to flip it around about the psychological stuff. And there's a question that I'm always asking CC is, have we done enough? Have we done enough? Have we done enough marketing? Have we done enough selling, and so on and so forth? And should we spend money? Because we don't spend money, a lot of money. We do spend
some in the past.
We do spend some money, but again, with just the incredible glut.
Yeah.
Incredible glut of social media and being, everybody being hit with social media, we don't know if spending money would be effective.
Well, we have seen for ourselves that we have tried paid advertising, and unless you're already known, people just scroll right past you because there's so many ads.
But the point I'm trying to make, though, is if we spent more money, then we would get in front of people. True. People would scroll by, but we would get in front of people.
It's true.
And we have the money to spend. We do have the money that we could. Oh, yeah, we do. Trust me. As the CFO for Two More Books LLC, I say we have the money to spend, but we haven't pulled that trigger. Because one reason, because, is we want to have the most bang for the buck. Mm-hmm. But also, I wonder because it's the topic of today's podcast.
Yes.
Is the fear of success.
Right.
Because what you have here, and you wouldn't know it from this podcast and the 200 other podcasts and the dozens of podcasts that we've done where we've interviewed writers, you wouldn't know by any look of those, but Cece and I are introverts. We have a real challenge getting out in front of people, and if you don't believe me, you should see us at book signings, because we're the, please come over, but don't talk to us kind of people. But of course, we want people to talk to us.
We're working on that.
But we're still, oh my God, somebody's coming over. What do we do? Do we hide under the, oh no, we have to talk to them. And that's why we're here.
Well, and I think not only is it our introverted nature, you sometimes don't catch the context of a conversation either, and I think that makes you uncomfortable. Yeah. Because You know, even I sometimes don't hear people clearly. We did have some Germans come and talk to us when we did our Barnes and Noble signing, and they were speaking to each other in German, which is kind of, I perked up because if I hear other languages that I understand a little bit, it catches my attention. So I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I was like, I'm pretty sure they're speaking German. And when they came over to chat with us, they verified that. And there is a little bit of extra self-consciousness if there's a language barrier,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I'm thinking at my next book signing, I'm gonna wear this shirt. Can you see that? I think you can see that.
It says deaf.
It says deaf, which I'm deaf. I have this cochlear implant, but it is not perfect. And if I don't have context, somebody coming up to me talking about books, I will not have context.
Right.
So if I don't have context, then it's very, very difficult. I can hear the noise, but I need the context to be successful. But you see, we're here we are listing the reasons. But I think the overarching thing is
Right.
we generally have a fear of being recognized, generally have a fear of success. And that fear of success is a real thing among the independent writer community. We see it out there in the social media, where people like myself who get recognized in the wild, are very shocked.
Yes.
Independent writers are shocked.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's actually natural to be out in public, but for others, it's anxiety. There's just a sense of anxiety, and then have to sit at a table and have people come up to you and say, "Hey, I want to check out your books," and stuff like that.
Well, and then there's the other side of it. When people come up to the table, unless they are extremely extroverted, we did have one person come to talk to us, and he very specifically said that he supported independent authors and he wanted to see what we had available, and he made the effort to try to make us feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Most of us are not like that, so you've got it coming from both sides, basically.
Yeah. So there's that sense of public vulnerability.
Yeah, for everybody.
It's the dreaming of going back to school and wearing a few clothes, that kind of
There's
thing.
a lot of that dream.
It's all related.
Yeah.
I suspect that there's probably one or two listeners or watchers who right now going, "Yeah, I think you're overblowing this."
No.
No, not really. Like they always say, walk another person's shoe for a mile, and if you are still having problems, at least you have a free pair of shoes. But it's walk in our shoes, and you'll see that this anxiety thing. Realizing that there could be publicity, there could be visibility. It's really nerve-wracking, and so it can lead to a sense of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
I think that's important because these are all related on the same string. You could self-sabotage yourself by procrastinating or not doing the full effort, the full amount of energy that you could be giving to either writing your book, editing your book, publishing your book, or marketing your book. That self-sabotage thing may not even be conscious, but it's like I said earlier in setting that up, I said that we haven't spent any money, but we can, but we don't. And so the question is that because we're recognizing the fact that there's just so much media out there, or are we self-sabotaging ourselves by not spending that money, by not doing that? And that is a fair question.
It really is. But that also comes back to timing, because we need to be able to, I know, I'm just saying that there are a lot of factors involved.
And so it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster, and maybe not a roller coaster, but maybe it's just an anxiety circle.
True.
Where you have this stage of anxiety that feeds this stage of anxiety that feeds this stage of anxiety, then you find yourself back at the beginning. And there are, the anxiety can take lots of forms.
Yeah.
The one that we've talked about frequently on this podcast, of course, is imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Especially for independent writers who have not gone down the traditional publishing. Is my book even real, or is my book even valid if I haven't gone to one of the big publishing houses or even one of the small publishing houses and had them vet it and had them do the covers, had them do the marketing? Am I, it's like the Velveteen Rabbit. You're not real until you're loved.
Yep.
For independent publishers, am I real if I don't go through the traditional marketing or the traditional publishing cycle.
That is a very valid point, that there is a sense of success. First of all, you have to find an agent who will support you, because you can't even try to approach a traditional publishing house without an agent. So you have to go through many steps where people say, oh, yes, I've seen this, I like it, I believe in what you're doing. Whereas when we do it independently, when we self-publish, we're bypassing those steps, and we're just saying, at least in our case, I know there are people out there who just kind of throw things out, and they're a whole different breed. They're just trying to make a quick buck. But people who truly believe in what they're doing, there is that sense of, why didn't I try to go through XYZ publisher, because, you know, maybe my book would sell better. And there have been people who have self-published that later a traditional publishing house will find out how successful they've been, and they will buy their book and re-release it. But for most of us, that's not the case. And I think even traditionally published authors now are backtracking, and some of them are going back and re-releasing their books independently. They're self-publishing them for various reasons, but not going through the process, all those gates to get to, you know, the big publishing houses. You kind of feel like, well, maybe I'm just not a great writer.
Yeah,
and that's not always true.
And to approach a publishing house via an agent, you know, it's like you would have to set yourself up to hear feedback that you may not be prepared.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get feedback on your babies.
Yep.
You're going to get feedback on your little babies here, my baby, that you may not want to hear, but that you should hear. Which is why one thing is, I'm so glad that I found TerryCase.com. Because, and I wrote this in her testimony, Terry is an excellent creative editor, she's a great author too. She's a creative editor. She tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. But even that is painful, because if I were asked what's part of the writing process that I absolutely dread, it's opening up the feedback from my beta readers and from my editors, because, for two reasons, because, you know, they're correctly and professionally fixing my baby. But the other thing is I cringe, because when they see that I can't see my own mistakes, and when they see my mistakes and they write them out, it's sort of like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah.
But when you go through the traditional publishers, you're not only going to have one or two or three, and I have 4 or 5, depending on the book, I have 4 or 5 beta readers who are excellent beta readers. And of course Terry, and then the folks at Read Adept. And so I've got quite the creative team, by the way, that's one over there, who are very practiced at telling me how to let me down easily. But when you go through traditional publishing, you have a bunch of anonymous people out there. And if you are a part of that anxiety cycle, I'm going to use the word, you have people out there attacking your book. And that is difficult to handle.
And that also brings up another point, that one of the things that we could do to probably become more successful is to write to market. If you're going through a traditional publishing house, they will know exactly which tropes you should highlight in your books. Instead of throwing a lot of tropes in there, you highlight a trope or two. And both JT and I like to just write what we write. We could probably be a little bit more successful out the gate if we were a little bit more mainstream, I guess. And, you know, that's a double-edged sword, because one of the really good things about being self-published and having so many independently published books available is that you do get a wider variety of books and stories. And it may have elements of things you like, but it may also have things that you don't like. So are we sabotaging ourselves by allowing ourselves to write whatever the heck we feel like writing, instead of trying to write more to market?
Yeah, instead of just picking a particular genre, like, you know, it's like I could do either, you know, cop/crime books, which I've done several of, or I could do my latest writing love, which is science fiction. You know, I like the science fiction,
political thrillers.
Yeah, you know, those kind of things. But I just like to write what's interesting.
Yeah.
But I think you're right on that. Is, you know, that may be another way we're self-sabotaging us. And then I'm going to talk about the thing that really applies to CC and me is, you've been retired for almost a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been retired 3 years next month.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gotten into a routine.
Yeah.
We've gotten into a routine. We get up, we do a team building exercise with the bed. We make the bed.
We straighten
Get your
up the
mind out of the
blankets.
gutter. We make the bed. We do morning exercises together, and then we
Yep.
talk about business, and we do business things. We do
Yep.
lunch, and then at the afternoon is either relaxation or more business things. So,
Mhm.
but we've gotten into a routine, and then when we have to do interviews or when we have to do book signings, it completely blows up that routine.
Yeah.
It completely blows up that routine. And so becoming successful, and I don't know if we've articulated this in this brain, but becoming successful would completely disrupt our set routines. We're
Yeah.
retired. We're retired.
Yeah.
And we like that retirement thing, and we like that routine of, getting up when we get up.
Yeah.
Go to bed when we go to bed.
Yep.
If we were to become successful, and don't get us wrong, we do want to be more successful, but if we
Right.
were to get successful, we would be getting up at like 4 a.m. to catch flights because Reno is not a major hub.
No.
We have to fly to a major hub.
Yeah.
And then we would be getting back late at night for the exact same reason. Or, we would have to be facing, a lot of people all at once. We'd be doing one of these, oh dear God, that line is so long, that kind of thing. And that would take us away from our little, our little
Comfort.
home,
Our comfort zone.
comfort zone. And so I don't know if that's something that either of us even have either considered, but it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm talking about that anxiety cycle, which we have, and I don't think that we're unique in having it.
No. And I think we do have occasions where we feel like we need to break out of that routine. It gets a little monotonous. So we'll take a trip or something. We'll do something just, at the drop of a hat because, like JT said, we're retired, so we can just go do a road trip. And then we get out there and it's like, I want to be at home.
Yeah.
It's like we're having fun, but it's like, I need to go back to my bed.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
like, it's just, that's kind
People,
of ingrained in us.
it's people. There's people out here, and it's like,
Yes, then
And-
we're exhausted because
It's-
anxiety.
yeah, and so,
Well, I think tied to that too, it's not just our set routine that we're worried about, but we're also worried, I think, about expectations. So right now, we put the books out there when we feel like it. People may read one or two people may read them, but there are not a lot of people clamoring for our books. And I'm thinking specifically of someone like George R.R. Martin, who's incredibly successful. Everybody was really into Game of Thrones, and they had the show, and there were books that he wanted to continue writing. I don't think he ever finished them, but people were expecting more books from him, and there's a lot of pressure from those expectations.
yeah.
And maybe we're also a little bit afraid of letting people down because we'd be trying to live up to their expectations. And I
Yeah.
think that's tied to the comfort
see,
zone.
and we could go on and
On
on
and
and on and on about this. Obviously we're deep into our heads. We're deep
That's
into our
what-
heads on
yeah.
this issue. But it's an issue worth examining, especially as an independent writer. Just as a regular old person, it's worth examining. And before we go around to solutions or possible solutions that may or may not work, we do want to point out that there is value in seeking a third person's disinterest, who is disinterested in you personally. What I'm talking about, of course, is a mental health professional.
Yes.
That if you are too deep into your own head, it's okay to go to somebody and say, what is your professional assessment on this?
Mhm.
So we do want to point out that is there, and we are not saying that's what you need to do.
No.
And we are not trying to take a place of that person by any stretch of the imagination. But that is an option, and there are those that do work pro bono or for reduced prices in the community.
Yep.
If you feel that that this fear of success is too great to overcome, or it's just you hitting this wall, then maybe that's an option. And we're not encouraging you, we're just presenting that as an option. For
Right.
CC and me, we just bounce things off, and that's our way of doing it. Of course, the flip side is after being married as long, we just may be feeding each other's anxiety. But we're okay. There's nobody I'd rather feed than her baby.
He's on a roll today.
Okay, let's talk
But
about
that is
possible
very
solutions
true.
or possible breakout things. First of all, I hate to say this because I've had experience with this, but I hate to say this, but the most obvious solution is, just get your ass out on the diving board and jump.
Yes.
I hate to say that. You just hold your nose, close your eyes,
Yep.
and just jump. But that is a humongous step
Mm-hmm.
that I don't recommend. I'm just presenting it
Right.
again as an option. I don't recommend it because I have this thing with cold water. I hate it. I hate cold water. I hate being immersed in cold water. Cold showers, I will take them if I absolutely positively have to as a last resort. But I hate cold water due to childhood trauma. So jumping into
Something
a
like
pool,
Lake Tahoe.
is even as a metaphor, it gives me
Yes.
the willies. But the reason for that is because jumping in, does not guarantee success.
It's true.
And maybe all you've done is just fed the anxiety monster.
It's true.
All you've done is the anxiety monster. On the flip side, though, jumping in has helped. Jumping has worked. Pushing your work. Pushing either excerpts or chapters on all sorts of social media.
Yep.
Just hammering away. Putting yourself out on forums. Joining every web-based forum. Just throwing your stuff out there.
Yep.
And then saying those words that you probably hate the most. What do you think of my writing?
That's some of the hardest things to ever do, is to ask what somebody thinks about something that you've created, because they may not mean it that way, but people like us who are anxious take it as a personal attack.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they may believe that you can do great work and they're trying to inspire you to improve on what you've already put out there. But you're saying that, I've already done this really hard work, and all of a sudden now they're coming back and saying it's just not good enough. So you have to find that balance. And as you mentioned with Terry Case, I probably could not work with Terry because she's very blunt, which is awesome. And the two of you have a very good rapport that way. So you have to take your personal feelings into account when you're looking for somebody to give you feedback. In my case, I don't mind feedback, but I need a little bit of a softening to it,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise it's just a little too sharp and I retreat into my shell. And
And
that's not good.
And everything you said is 100% valid.
Yep.
And if CC is saying something that you relate to,
Yep.
it's 100% valid. And I can hear some people saying, well, get over it. Some folks just have to grow
Yep.
at their own pace.
Yep.
So from the flip side of jumping into the water,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge the one way to get through this is to acknowledge that there are growth opportunities in yourself.
Yep.
And taking small steps to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, like if CC gives me something, I try very carefully to give her feedback. Sometimes it doesn't go well. And I've known her for
A long time. But you will admit that giving me feedback now is much different than it was 30 years ago.
But my point being is you. One way that you can do that is to expand your circle of
Yeah.
beta readers.
That's true.
And say, hey, I want you to read something, and it will help me become more confident. It will help me
true.
grow. And there are other ways to grow. You don't have to throw your chapters out there.
Mhm.
You can say something like, hey, I'm looking for somebody who provides feedback in a kind, gentle way.
Yep.
And that, again, that is perfectly fine, because
Well,
growth by steps
Yep.
is what probably is what you need to hear.
And I think based on that, if you are not a writer, but if you're somebody who watches these podcasts because you're interested in a writer's life and you want to provide a writer some support, and you would like to be the kind of person who can give thoughtful feedback, there are ways to learn. Take classes, join critique groups, and there are ways to learn how to kind of read the author that you're working with and provide the appropriate feedback so that you're being supportive and not attacking what they're
Right.
doing. So it goes both ways.
Right, yeah, learn to give feedback.
Yep.
In order to receive feedback. These are
Right.
growth opportunities.
Yep.
Uh, and
It's a complex issue.
yeah, it's a challenge. I know,
Yep.
but you these skills that you learn, that you know, being an introvert. If you're going to receive feedback, then you got to pick up these tools that'll help you build confidence to receive the feedback. So being part of feedback groups yourself, being part of book reading clubs, being part of forums, participating in forums. For example, I'm a member of the Authors Guild, which I'm very happy to be a member of. But this is a group of traditionally published writers that are very professional in what they do, and so much respect for them. And believe me, I feel like a very small fish in a very big ocean. And a lot of water metaphors in this podcast today. Have you noticed that? And so when I dip my toe in there, I will make mistakes, but I will also try to very carefully, because there is a language that I've noticed that traditionally published writers speak that is different from independent writers.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. Maybe learn to speak that language, pick up those skills so you can explain yourself and your books in that kind of forum. But it's not something like, if you're me, you just don't want to dive in with both feet, despite what I said earlier. There is a language there that you kind of have to read, observe, and pick up. Because, and I know that indie writers probably don't want to hear this, the way that traditionally published writers speak to each other is different than the way independent writers speak to each other. So maybe read up on those kind of forums too, so you can see, and you can pick up their ideas when they receive feedback.
And you bring up a good point, because not only do you have the difference between traditionally published authors and self-published authors, you also have different language when you write in different formats. For example, we're talking specifically about prose fiction. Some people, Ellen Hopkins, who lived in the area, I'm not sure if she's still around here, but she wrote poetic fiction, and her books would not be similar to ours. She became very popular with her books. And, that would be a different language too. So people who write straight poetry, people who screenwrite, people who maybe they write things based on tabletop gaming. There are so many different variations to what you can write and put out there. In some cases, you already have a following. For example, poetry. There are people who are specifically just interested in reading poetry maybe. And you need to appeal to those people. So you need to find your audience. And whether or not you're traditionally published, you need to know the language of the people that you're talking to as well.
Yeah. I think the last step we'll talk about when it coming over this fear of success thing is actually the hardest thing, because especially for overthinkers, is acknowledging the fear. And framing it realistically. Acknowledging the fear and framing it realistically, put it in the correct thing, because like I said earlier, we've done a couple of book releases. Nothing's happened with them, and the question is did we do enough? Should we have spent money, so on and so forth? And is the reason that we didn't do it is because of this entirely logical reason that there's so much media out there? Or is it the reason, or is it anxiety, or is it a combination of the two? It's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
But acknowledging that anxiety about success exists is easy to say.
Yep.
It's easy to say, well, I'm so worried that this, that, the other thing can happen. That's not facing it. That's saying it.
Right.
One thing that I've often said is rationalization is the weakest of truths. Rationalization is the weakest of truths. What it is somebody will propose something and say, somebody will say, the person in the room will say it won't work, and they will give this list of reasons, weak reasons that are true, but they don't acknowledge the main fact that, what they're trying to say is that I just don't want to do it. But what they're saying is, well, the sun is going to shine, and there'll be people outside, and then and they give these reasons. You know what I'm talking about, folks? You've been there. What the person is actually saying is, I just don't want to do that stupid shit. they don't want to come out and just say that, which is the real reason. Rationalization is the simplest truth, is the simplest form of truth that meets the weakest reasons without actually saying the truth out loud.
Right.
And so when we say, well, we didn't want to spend the money, is that a rationalization? Is that a rationalization? Or is that the truth?
Well, I do think I have a valid reason not to want to overspend on our marketing budget, because we did try small marketing pushes in the past.
And I don't mean to make you defensive.
No, I'm not trying to be defensive. What I'm saying is it comes from a place of reality.
Right.
But you do have a good point that shouldn't make us afraid to try it again.
Right.
It's just sometimes it feels like it's not the right place at the right time, and finding that.
Yeah.
And again, I'm rationalizing, but there is, like you said, diving in to the cold water, that can be dangerous. So you got to find your comfort level, and without crawling back into your comfort shell, there's got to be like anything in life, you have to find the balance.
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a struggle, and you can see that we're dealing with it. And I hope that as a writer, I hope if you're seeing this, I hope that you understand where we're coming from. We're not trying to pick on anybody, and I hope you know that I'm not trying to pick on you.
I am the maybe more reticent one of the two, but it's.
But if I let you be that, then we're equal that way. It's not, you're not more than we're both the same. Do you see what I'm saying there?
Yes, you're an enabler.
Yeah, I'm an enabler. So I'm enabling her, baby.
But the thing is, if you feel like I really am being too reticent, you will come back at me. I mean, he does not handle me with kid gloves all the time.
Yeah,
we have had our discussions.
But if my fear is the same, and I don't challenge her, then it's difficult.
One of the reasons we've been married as long as we have is that we have very, we grew up differently, but we have very similar fears and things based on childhood trauma that we are both dealing with, and we have been dealing with for our entire adult lives. So we do tend to, I think, coddle each other because we know what triggers us.
Yeah, but we're not using childhood trauma as a crutch.
No, because I think both of us have grown a lot over our marriage, and like you were saying earlier, that you try to, smooth the edges of any critique you give me. But I think you will admit that anything you critique me on now, I don't take it as hard as I did when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
There is a lot of growth opportunity there.
Yeah, and again, acknowledging that fear, as we are doing here in this forum, is an important step. But it should not be the end of the discussion. It should be part of the development growth cycle that we all go through. So, what is it? So, what do you think, folks? Are we full of crap? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think a lot of us deal with the same thing, and maybe we don't realize it. I think this is something, I brought this idea to JT about the fear of success, because this is something I've been thinking about recently. It's like, we are putting a lot of work into making a good product to provide to readers, and we don't get a lot of traction. So where are we missing out on making that connection? And I think maybe what it is that we are afraid to succeed because it will change our comfort zone. People will expect more from us, and we'll be in the spotlight. And even if we're not in a huge spotlight, it's still an uncomfortable place to be.
And again, I'm just going to caveat that, but it was what I said earlier. The other reason, of course, is we don't have a following, so we don't have that commercial side of the house. But marketing, boy, somebody said the other day that 80% of independent publishing is marketing. God, they're so right. And if we can't get out there and market ourselves, we cannot get out there and market ourselves for whatever reason, whether it be the lack of footprint in the area, or to ourselves, holding ourselves back. we're always going to be like this. We're going to be writing books, releasing books, spending money on books. For books, these books individually through editing and covers and everything, we spend more than $1,000 a book.
Mhm.
But the flip side of that is we don't have a Harley Davidson that pays more than $1,000 a month. So, you know, like our neighbor. Hi.
The thing is, you pick your,
You have
I
to
guess, retirement
pick your
expenditures.
pick your cocaine. Pick your cocaine. Our cocaine is writing books.
Yeah.
Okay, we've belabored this, we've gone over this, we've talked about this. What do you take from this for yourselves? Please reach out to us and let us know.
Yeah, I think really the most important thing to take out of this is maybe if you feel like you're not getting any traction with readers, is it because you're afraid of success? And, you know, just take a moment to stop and think, oh, you know, maybe there's some validity in that, and what can I do?
Yeah.
If you want to do that, because there's nothing wrong with just putting books out there, and if people find them, they find them, and we're not saying you have to do anything in a specific way.
Mm-hmm.
I think you do have to find some place where you're comfortable, but is that comfort preventing you from maybe achieving some of your dreams? That's what we're doing. That's kind of where we are right now.
Anyway, we're going to keep swinging for the fences anyway, no either way, so, you know, yay for us. Pardon me?
I also noticed that you were just looking at Powell's Books, sent a newsletter. That's one of our dreams. Hi, Powell's Books.
Hi, Powell's Books. We would love for you to take us on. Okay, so lots to think about. We talked a lot, and we hopefully gave folks something to think about. And we're going to be here continuing on with the podcast.
Yep. And writing books.
And writing books. Again, next release is Serving Salvation Book 2, coming out on Tuesday.
That's book 3, the final book in the series.
Final book of the series, Book 3, August 26th. There is a prequel series that's coming out. Part 1 is already out there as a novella.
Yep.
Go out to our website. There's a link to our bookstore. If you click on the bookstore link, you'll see that all the prices have dropped to our books. We've got all these books on our shelves that are just gathering dust. We want to get rid of them. So please, you know, buy our books. We would really appreciate it. And I'm running out of things to say. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Well, in putting ourselves out there news, we also recently opened a TikTok shop. So if you are on there, we do have copies of From Tundra to Tiara, which is the romance that we co-wrote. We are trying to expand our horizons and push beyond maybe our fears of being popular. But again, you know, not a lot of traction. So, you know, if you happen to be on that platform playing around, at least check on the link and see this bookstore. We tried it with one book just to see how it would go, and we'll see. Yep. I don't know if it will continue with it.
So anyway, keep an eye on this space, because next week and every other week we're going to continue to, you know, interview writers. We have so much fun interviewing writers. I think we're having Angela back next time, aren't we? Is it Angela?
Yes. Well, we are interviewing Angela. I'm not sure where she falls in. We do have the.
I'm checking here.
CC and JT Amateur Hour is booked out to the middle of December.
No, the end of December.
I thought we were.
No. We are booked out for 2025.
Okay.
We are booked out for 2025 on this podcast. And if you are a member of the Nevada Authors Network, we are looking for people on that. Yes. But yeah, we're having Angela come back.
Right. Okay.
Do you remember Angela's last name?
Laverghetta.
Angela. Oh, she's a fun interview.
She is a lot of fun,
so
and she's got a new book coming out.
So So Angela's fun to have on. So
yep.
We'll be interviewing her this week and posting next week. Okay. We should let these people get back to their lives.
Well, you know, it's fun to chat with them.
It's fun to chat. Okay, well, check us out, www.carsonhume.com for this podcast. And if you are looking at Nevada writers, we ask you to go out to our company website at www.twomorebooks.com. So that's it.
And also, if you go to our website, you'll find all our social media links. So you can find us and follow us when we put goofy things up on there, too.
Yep. Look at the CC and JT link at the top of our website. Okay.
Yep.
Now we're just talking to talk. Let's let these people go. Anyway, sitting over there is CC.
Over there's JT.
Hang in there, folks. Be strong. If anything else, if you need it, here's a little bit of strength. We'll be happy to lend it to you. But for now, y'all take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.